Hello and welcome to Brainwaves, episode 159, bringing you the best in tabletop gaming news. My name is Jamie Adams.
And my name is Oliver Kinner.
And I'm Ian McAllister, and these are the headlines for the week of Monday the 24th of March, 2025. Cool mini or not, sweat the details. Hasbro conjures up a profit report, and Wizards destroys its sigil. All this and more on this episode of Brainwaves.
Cool mini or not, or CMON, the US-based publisher of games such as Zombicide, Blood Rage, Rising Sun and Ankh, has issued a profit warning, stating it could face losses of up to $2.1 million in the financial year of 2024. This was first reported by the site Boardgame Wire. The company attributes this downturn to the rising cost of living, which has impacted tabletop game sales. This loss would nearly erase Cool Mini or Not's combined $1.8 million profit over the past 3 years, ending a period of financial recovery since its $5 million loss in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite past successes on Kickstarter, where it raised $108 million, Cool Mini or Not switched to GameFound in 2023, raising over $12.1 million. However, its revenue fell in the first half of 2024, with wholesale earnings dropping by 39% and crowdfunding revenue declining by nearly 10%. Cash reserves have also dwindled, from $3.9 million in 2022 to $1.9 million by mid-2024. Now, Cool Mini or Not began 2025 with financial difficulties, including the failed sale of some intellectual property and an abandoned investment deal worth $1.39 million from two new shareholders. The company is now seeking alternative funding to strengthen its financial position. Cool Mini or Not currently has 10 pending crowdfunding projects of their own, including the $3.8 million Zombicide White Death, and 7 more games available for pre-order. In addition, the company has made key acquisitions such as Japon Brand and intellectual property from troubled publisher Mythic Games. However, backers of Mythic's games Hell and Anastyr have not received updates in over a year. It's worth noting these 2 games are not on the pending crowdfunding list that Cool Mini or Not has produced. So a lot more trouble at Cool Mini or Not.
Trouble in crowdfunding land in general right now, it seems.
Absolutely.
10 pending crowdfunding projects, that's a lot.
Yeah, how was it even possible to happen? I think that's whether they're now on GameFound or Kickstarter or not, but at least there's platforms who say, well, hang on, you got a few outstanding. Have they been delivered yet?
I mean, I guess like some of it's Kickstarter, some of it's GameFound, but yeah, it's definitely a question worth asking, and we'll try and get an answer for you on that, because I do want to speak to Kickstarter about their current sort of crowdfunding attitude, I guess.
Yes.
Is the word.
Yes. Attitudes. I mean, I would also go part of it is the myth of infinite growth, and they just keep making it. So, they keep getting the mind to do it. So why not? I disagree with it, unsurprisingly. But that's where I think.
Indeed.
And getting Mythic Games on board as well with 2 projects that were already in trouble, adding to their troubles, kind of
and not
things any easier.
People about them at all. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what we all love. No updates for a long time.
Yeah. Famously, backers love that kind of thing.
Yep.
Yes.
So moving away from profits and money to profits and magic.
Magic indeed, yes. Hasbro announced that sales for Wizards of the Coast, which is behind Magic the Gathering, saw a decline in both Q4 and the full year of 2024. Magic the Gathering sales, including digital revenue, plummeted 19% for the quarter, while Wizards' overall tabletop revenue declined 22% to $207 million. The Q4 results reflected the impact of tough comparisons to the prior year's Lord of the Rings set. Hasbro's total gaming sales, which includes its broader portfolio, fell 5% to $542.5 million in Q4. However, the company's overall profitability improved significantly, turning a $34.3 million profit for the quarter compared to a $1.1 billion loss in Q4 2023. Hasbro CEO Chris Cox highlighted strong engagement, including rising player numbers and increased MagicCon attendance as indicators of the brand's resilience. Hasbro forecasts a 5 to 7% increase in Wizards of the Coast revenue for 2025, driven by the 3 major Magic the Gathering Universe Beyond sets featuring Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, and an unannounced 3rd franchise. The Final Fantasy set could become the best-selling Magic the Gathering set ever, according to Cox. though the Spider-Man set will be standard only, potentially limiting its sales. The company also unveiled its Playing to Win strategy, focusing on expanding key franchises, increasing appeal among older and female audiences, and growing digital and direct-to-consumer sales. Additionally, Hasbro raised its cost-saving goal from $750 million by the end of 2025 to $1 billion by 2027. We, of course, would like to remind people that in the last round of layoffs at Hasbro, they got rid of many of the folk involved in creating Universes Beyond, including Megan Galbraith, who had led the initiative at Wizards of the Coast. We covered that story back in episode 135. So, new sets, more cards, things, whatever for Magic is going to save the day, you guys. What's
New
happening?
sets, more cards, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's magic as normal. I mean, there's nothing there about D&D, really. I don't know if that's because what we're looking at is a magic-focused
Oh, it's only magic,
press
yeah.
release. Well, no, because it's about their quarter four and full year 2024, but there's absolutely no mention of the D&D in there, which is kind of interesting. Maybe that's just because the article on ICB2 that we're getting this from is trading card game focused. But yeah, I mean, the Final Fantasy set could be absolutely huge, I'm guessing, because massive crossover there into the sort of nerd culture, of course. But yeah, I mean, Wizards have come under pressure over the last few years from the player base for like having too many sets too quickly, but it doesn't seem to have stopped the growth of Magic the Gathering all the same, because people will still buy cards. So yeah, I guess we'll wait and see on that one.
I wonder what the third franchise is going to be. My guess, pull the ultimate bait and switch and do Pokemon Magic the Gathering.
Wow, that would be
Whoa, you should tell Chris Cox about that.
I'm not going to tell Chris Cox, friend of the podcast, anything.
Yeah. Chris Cox is not a friend of the podcast.
No.
Friend of the show, mate. Friend of the show.
Something like that. Sticking with Wizards of the Coast, and more importantly, their owners, Hasbro, they have been scrabbling for several years to create an in-house virtual tabletop, or VTT, project to rival Roll20, which is the sort of premier VTT out there. This week, things took a turn for the worst, with Wizards laying off all but 3 workers from that VTT project called Sigil, effectively ending its development. A message was sent on Monday the 17th of March from Dan Rawson, Senior Vice President of Dungeons & Dragons and Hasbro Direct.
Dear team, I want to share an important update regarding Sigil. After several months of alpha testing, we've concluded that our aspirations for Sigil as a larger standalone game with a distinct monetization path will not be realized. As such, we cannot maintain a large development effort, and most of the Sigil team will be separated from the company this week. We are, however, proud of what the Sigil team has developed, and want to make sure that fans and players on DDB, D&D Beyond, can use it. To that end, we will transition Sigil to a DDB feature. We will maintain a small team to sustain Sigil, and release products already developed at no additional cost to users. To those moving on as a result of this decision, we will provide robust support, including severance packages, 2024 bonus, career placement services, and internal opportunities where possible. I want to take a moment to praise the entire Sigil team for their incredible work to deliver this product to our community. One of the things I'm most proud of here at D&D is our strong sense of purpose. We aim to honour our current players while ensuring D&D continues to build connections and bring joy to future generations. And that's what the Sigil team was doing. Although we haven't fully realised our vision for Sigil to scale, the team should be proud of their achievements.
30 employees, about 90% of the workforce, have been fired, with the final 3 workers folding elements of Sigil into D&D Beyond. An anonymous employee spoke to Rascal News and estimated that Hasbro invested between $20 and $30 million into Sigil so far, but after the somewhat disastrous 2024 Gen Con demo, development slowed and relationships were strained. At this point, Hasbro CEO Chris Cox started his involvement with the project and did not seem keen on continued development. The employee describes this situation, quoting from the Rascal article, which is public-facing, so we feel comfortable quoting it.
A company-wide lack of coordination during their tenure, where they never interacted with the book publishing team and only stumbled into the already existing Maps VTT by accidentally signing up for an internal playtest, believing it was Sigil. In fact, the employee claims Wizards of the Coast engineers would constantly clash with D&D Beyond staff over access to the latter's fiercely protected internal data.
The employee further says that they believe Hasbro saw Sigil as a video game as opposed to a VTT, expecting it to be profitable in a similar way to Magic the Gathering or the phenomenally successful Baldur's Gate 3. According to the employee, Sigils' team was also affected by the layoffs at Hasbro in December 2023, where 1,100 staff were fired just a couple of weeks before Christmas. Now, estimations from that employee are that the annual salary of all 1,100 fired employees would be covered by the executive bonuses awarded to Hasbro's top executives in 2023. We have no other data for that other than what they're saying. The separated from the company line in that quote is absolute corporate barf. That's horrible. Yeah. What a horrible phrase. You fired them.
Eyes that.
Just say that's what's happening. Yeah, absolutely terrible. I mean, for anyone keeping count, this is the second time that Wizards have tried to launch a VTT. They tried to with 4th edition as well. I don't think it even quite got this far. But yeah, it's basically just dead in the water now. There's no way they're going to be able to turn that into a platform with 3 employees. The whole thing was meant to be like a full sort of virtual board with like miniatures and like models, and like is made on Unreal, so it actually looks quite nice.
Unlike a lot of other,
unlike a lot of other,
it was going for a fully 3D as well, as you said. Yeah. It was made with Unreal Engine, so.
Yeah, and the maps that was referred to there in one of the quotes, maps is something I've only just found out about. There's a sort of maps VTT inside D&D Beyond right now, and you can access a lot of the maps from like various modules for Dungeons & Dragons through that as well. So yeah, there's a whole sort of weird competing ecosystem going on there. Sounds like Sigil was conceived with not really knowing what they wanted, or the upper management really understanding what it was, or exactly what it would do.
I think there was a month of open, it was either alpha or beta. I'm assuming it was beta.
They launched it very quietly about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right. I got an invite.
Oh, did you?
Oh, go. Well, because I'm
signed up. Join in?
I was signed up. I was meaning to, just to see what it was like, and yeah, the whole thing sounded weird.
It's a shame, Ian, because as part of Brainwaves, this is an organization that doesn't tolerate failure.
That's unfortunate because I'm in charge.
For now. Anyway, yeah, more.
When revolution comes.
I was going to say, just touch your hand to the metal plate. That's a Bond joke for anyone who's cares about that dinosaur. Anyway, another pop-up for Chris Cox, friend of the show. Oliver loves saying Chris Cox, so we'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's not going to go away for a wee while, so I think we'll be saying his name for a wee while.
Yeah, so the next story will be read out by me again, definitely.
Anyway, and if you're listening to this, we might include this as a question in the pub quiz this year.
Tales of Scotland. Do come along.
Ooh, little hint.
We'll definitely first. More political questions. It was pretty funny to do that last year.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to some news.
The Origins Awards 2025, which rewards excellence in game design, has announced its list of over 100 nominees. Nominations are made by members of the Game Manufacturers Association, also known as GAMA, which includes individual designers, social media influencers, publishers, and distributors, as well as game stores. Now, for obvious reasons, we can't list them all here and refer you instead to the Origins website, a link to which you can find in the show notes, but we can tell you a lot of the categories. So nominees are divided into board games, constructible games, which refer to deck-building games such as Magic the Gathering, miniatures games, and role-playing games. Now, the winners will be announced at the Origins Game Fair this year in Columbus, Ohio, which will take place between the 18th and 22nd of June. Congratulations to all the nominees. Again, over 100, lots of different categories. Have a look for yourself. A lot of great nominees. At Origins, the Academy of Adventure Gaming Arts and Design, a division of GAMA, will induct 3 new members. Susan McKinley-Ross, designer of Quirkle and the first woman to win a Spiel des Jahres. Stefan Feld, designer of Castles of Burgundy and the recent Civolution. And Ryo Mizuno, who is recognized for their contribution to the RPG scene in Japan. It's also going to induct 2 new games. Codenames by Vladish Vatil and Time's Up by R&R Games. I mean, the Origins Awards, long-running one, 100 nominees, which is
a lot. Yeah, long list.
A lot. So yeah, this is nice. And the Academy of Adventure Gaming Arts and Design, I'm sure we've covered it before, but it's still like, oh yes, this is kind of cool. It's like another way of going, look, these games and people are very important.
Yeah, I mean, I do sometimes wonder whether they have so many nominees and so many categories, whether it gets too big of an award and loses some of its significance because things get lost in it. I don't know. On the other hand, obviously, it's nice to cover maybe more categories and actually point out a few more games that maybe otherwise get lost in those awards that maybe, list one or two. So I don't know. I'm in two minds about this, but it's certainly nice to have these people listed there as well. Quirkle. Have you played Quirkle?
I haven't. I've never played it.
You should. So again, nice to see Susan being mentioned here. We're on first name basis, by the sounds of it.
Of course, yeah. Friend of the show, of course. Friend of the show, of course.
Either Reich's in there, which I reviewed recently. Through the Hedge Show, which I've got a copy of for review, and I'm just about to do my first read of that not too distant future. It's a weird sort of like pastoral fantasy kind of thing. It's quite dark.
Because I know I know I didn't say it, but I can't remember off the top of my head how many categories are actually in.
Two.
Because we've got over 100 nominees, so if you're assuming, let's say 5,
12 categories.
Yeah, I think it was about 12. Yeah,
3 in miniatures, 2 in constructible, fixed and randomized. So like randomized is like TCG model, fixed is like you just buy it and you've got the thing. Board games, co-op, gateway, party, heavy strategy, light strategy.
Well, there you go.
Long list.
There you go, indeed. And sticking with awards, Oliver.
Yeah, Cardboard Edison, a site that has loads of resources for first-time and established designers, have also announced their award finalists. Every year they host an award highlighting upcoming designs and designers. Specifically, the game submitted must not currently be published. The competition received 348 entries, and from those, 21 finalists were selected. They will be asked to send a prototype to the awards, and then the game will be played by some industry professionals. The prototypes are due by April the 1st, with winners announced in May. The finalists are a diverse range of themes, from plate reconstruction in Athenia, salsa making in Molcajete, to creating potions in wild crafting. The full list of winners will be linked to from our show notes, so do have a look there.
How do we look at some of them? There's just ones that caught my eye, even just the themings of them. Like making your own Renaissance fair or setting up your own one like a park builder. One that's called Indie Alley, which is about like trying to put posters on a wall and gain the most attention for like indie bands.
All right, yeah.
And one that's kind of based on the Tower of Babel, where you've all got different dialect trying to build a tower, and your dialect is like. I really like some of these ideas.
I think Cardboard Edison always has been quite interesting when it comes to the awards. So
definitely, interesting.
Well, good luck to the finalists and congratulations, and we'll find out more soon.
Yeah.
Now we're sticking with more awards, Ian.
The As d'Or Award is France's premier board game award, given out every year at the International Games Festival in Cannes. In episode 157, we covered all the nominees for this year. The award has 4 categories, and the winners in each one have been announced. Children's Game of the Year is Operation Noisettes, designed by Jeremy Solel, Emile Solel, and art by Marco Renko. The Intermediate Award is Behind, designed by Cedric Millet, art by Maud Chamel and Piero and Martin Winberg. The Expert Award is Kutnahora, designed by André Bystron, Pavel Jarosh, Petra Kaslava, and art by Stephen Drastak, Milan Vavron, Roman Bandar. And the Game of the Year was Odin, designed by Remo Consadori, Palamore, and art by Jonathan Oconte. Congratulations to all the winners. I do wonder if you looked at the Spiel des Jahres compared to the As d'Or over the years, what trends you would see in French and German sort of game tastes. Would you have some lines coming up? Would there be?
I don't know.
This doesn't resemble the Spiel des Jahres very closely for this year, if I remember rightly.
If I recollect correctly, I think the As d'Or and the Spiel des Jahres tend to have quite different games, and I think the board game market in both countries is quite active.
Yeah.
So a lot of French designers and German designers making games independently and getting awarded, getting recognized awards separately.
I'm sure we've reported on like sort of French game designer unions and that kind of thing in the past.
Exactly.
If I recall. Yeah, so it'd be an interesting thing to look at over the years, like where there's similarities, where there's crossover, where there's not.
Absolutely. And just before we end, have we played any of these games?
No. Not a single one.
Odin.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oliver,
Yes, third time lucky.
You are the one who is breaking our streak of actually playing award-winning games.
I played a bunch of new games recently, but none of those were these games.
And you can read the review on my blog if you want to.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll link to it in the show notes.
Listening to this right now and go and read his review on...
No, carry on listening to this.
And then come back and listen. Sorry, we'll wait. We'll wait.
We're not waiting any longer. On to Stonemaier Games, Jamie.
Stonemaier Games, the St. Louis-based publisher of games such as Wingspan, Viticulture, Charterstone, and Tapestry, has released its 2024 Stakeholder Report. The company recorded $23.7 million in revenue, up from $16.7 million in 2023, with 48% coming from distribution, 22% from its web store. Now, despite revenue being up, profits remain modest due to reinvestments in manufacturing, shipping, and personnel. The company also adjusted its Amazon sales approach, opting to sell directly to consumers rather than through a distributor. Now, the publisher's most successful title remains Wingspan and Wingspan Asia, which has sold over 2.4 million copies, followed by Scythe with 559,602 units. In 2024, Stonemaier Games released 2 new games, Wormspan, Stamp Swap, and 3 expansions, Rolling Realms Redux, Expeditions Gears of Corruption, and Apiary Expanding the Hive. One of the most significant developments was the acquisition of the Tokaido brand from Funforge, with a Stonemaier version of the game scheduled for release in April 2025. Community engagement remains a cornerstone of Stonemaier Games' success, with 49,590 newsletter subscribers, 52,665 YouTube subscribers, and over 100,000 members across its Facebook groups. The company's Champions program has grown to 14,448 members, and it continues to support 685 active ambassadors and 224 engaged reviewers. And Stonemaier's annual charity auction raised $35,121 for a number of different causes. Jamie Stegmaier, co-founder and owner of Stonemaier Games, prefaced the report by saying this.
Joy is always our goal. We don't measure success by money, units sold, rankings, followers, or awards. Those are just metrics. So, all of the data aside, I truly hope we were able to create some joy for you in the last year, and I'm grateful for your connections to Stonemaier Games.
If you don't measure success by money, units sold, rankings, followers, or awards, I mean, I understand, awards or whatever. Then what are you measuring success by, Jamie?
Yeah, he absolutely does.
The report as well.
Yeah, also why I published this report then. It is also worth making clear that both me and Oliver, I think that's right, have received review copies from Stonemaier Games in the past, though we have no financial relationship with Stonemaier. We're not paid reviewers, paid marketers or anything. We just review games. But
I'm clean, baby.
We have received copies of his games. And actually, Stonemaier Games, much as we definitely criticize that we don't measure success by money, yes, you do. Of course you do. They do actually one of the best review policies out there for a game published company. You get a game, you review it, and they share your review no matter what it is. And then they might send you they put you on a list for like getting offers for a new game, and you get a new game. That's it. It's very simple, but it works.
And even though Jamie doesn't want us to look at the figures, I do think they are quite impressive. I think we said that in the past report, last year's report. It is amazing as a... No, not this Jamie, the Mr. Stonemaier, Jamie Stegmaier. But yeah, I mean, the figures are amazing. Not just obviously the revenue and all that, but just the units sold. I mean, 2.4 million copies of Wingspan and Wingspan Asia. So I don't know what the split there is, but even if it was 50-50, I mean, over 1 million copies per game. Scythe with 500,000. It's just staggering if you think about not just the quantity sold, the longevity of these games. It's always nice to see that these figures published as well. I think a lot of other publishers, you don't really know what they're doing, where this seems quite open and honest, and it's nice to see. So yeah,
it's one of the things that I really like about Stonemaier Games. They actually talk about the numbers.
Yeah,
and with those Wingspan numbers, I mean, it's almost like it's some kind of cultural juggernaut.
Let's move on. You monster.
Rodger MacGowan, a pioneering artist, game developer, and magazine publisher, passed away on the 22nd of February at the age of 76. Best known for his iconic wargame cover art, MacGowan shaped the visual identity of board wargaming for over 5 decades. He founded Fire and Movement magazine in 1976 and later co-founded GMT Games in 1990. He also launched C3I magazine, serving as editor-in-chief and art director, further cementing his influence in the industry. His artistic career began in advertising, where he contributed to the science fiction magazine Vertex, before transitioning to television graphic design. His breakthrough in wargame art came in 1977 with his cover for The Russian Campaign, which was the first American wargame to depict Soviet soldiers. He went on to create covers for Squad Leader, Flat Top, Twilight Struggle, and many more, earning a reputation as one of the greatest illustrators in the field. MacGowan won the Charles S. Roberts Award, an annual award that began in 1975 and focuses on conflict simulation tabletop wargames for Best Professional Wargaming Magazine annually from 1978 to 1981, and again in 2008, 2012, 2019, 2020, and 21. MacGowan's leadership in independent gaming journalism and publishing left a lasting impact. He was instrumental in expanding the visual appeal of wargames, ensuring diverse historical representation on covers, and setting new standards for game design aesthetics. Fans and colleagues across the gaming world have shared tributes, celebrating his creativity and dedication. His family has set up a GoFundMe campaign to help recover from the loss of his home and studio in the Palisades fire, and a link to which you can find in our show notes. The Brainwaves team sends their condolences to MacGowan's family in these tough times.
Ernie Gygax, one of the sons of Dungeons & Dragons co-creator Gary Gygax, has died. He contributed to some of the early versions of Dungeons & Dragons and is probably best known for a character called Tensor, whose name appears on many of the spells in D&D. He's probably most known, infamously so, for the attempt to resurrect TSR with a company that we reported on many times that became known as New TSR. That company tried to sue Wizards of the Coast for control of the TSR brand and D&D name, but ended up being countersued into oblivion by Wizards. That company also pursued new versions of Star Frontiers, a sci-fi RPG published by the original TSR. In the new version, there were many heinous stereotypes of racism, sexism, and more. It was roundly mocked and derided by the wider RPG community. Our condolences to his family and friends.
Time for jobs, opportunities, and events. As always, you can find some of our jobs, opportunities, and events by going to the Tabletop Jobs Facebook page. This is where most of this comes from. And mainly on here is the Tabletop Mentorship Program. It's currently open for both mentor and mentee applicants. The program consists of a 3-month period where people can get help in all sorts of aspects of tabletop games, from podcast creation to game design. If you'd like to be part of the program on either side, applications close on the 21st of April. I believe Ian has been both a mentor and a mentee.
Yeah, I have indeed. I found it very rewarding both ways. So yeah, do get involved if you'd like to if you have an inkling of like some game design or some podcast or writing or whatever, and see if you get matched up with someone who can help you out, or you can help someone else out. I might put in the oar myself this year.
Nice. Well, that leads me on to giving our Patreons a shout out. We've got Kevin Bertram from Full Circle Games, James Naylor from Naylor Games, and Shaun Newman from the Gamelot team. If you want to become a patron yourself, please find us at patreon.com/thegiantbrain. There's other ways of supporting us on the website at giantbrain.co.uk. Follow the support us link. And you can also get dice and other bits from Fanroll. There's a link to our unique code and affiliate link in the show notes and probably on the website as well. Now, Ian,
Wait,
we are like 2 decades later or something.
Excuse me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm taking up the outro. It's my turn.
Oh, right. Is this you being the boss man stepping up?
Something like that, yeah.
Let's see how you do.
Show them how it's done. The Japanese Board Game Prize has been running since 2002, where a jury chooses the U-More Award for beginners and families, and a voter's choice voted on by the public. The winner of the voter's choice this year is Oya Battle by Yonemitsu Kazunari. The winner of the U-Move Award is Wild Vikings by Wolfgang Derschel. Wild Vikings was first released in 2008 and was a recommended game in that year's Spiel des Jahres Kinderspiel category. That's the category focused on children's games. This means that it's been 17 years since this game's even been looked at for an award, and maybe how long it's taken for a Japanese language edition to be released. If that's a record, we're not sure. If you can think of a game that's been awarded with a longer gap between initial release and an award in a different country or the same country, then please do let us know. We'd love to hear about it. Also, a salient reminder that if you're a German or English native speaker, you are very lucky in the volume of games being released. Sometimes it can take absolutely decades, literally, until other languages get to see your games, which is why we have so many sort of language-independent games, I guess. And,
yeah, I think so.
You did not bad. You did not bad.
Thanks, boss.
Give him another 17 years like the game, and he might be an expert at it.
And then he's gonna be.
You might get a Japanese award.
Yeah.
We'll see each other in 20 years.
Yeah.
All right, Dale Cooper. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. If you like what you've listened to, the best way to help us out is to share the podcast and drop us a review and rating on iTunes. You can also follow us on our Discord, on our Blue Sky, where we're giantbrain.co.uk. Our Instagram is giantbrainuk. Our Facebook group, which still exists, is The Giant Brain. Oliver is tabletopgamesblog.com. Our website is giantbrain.co.uk. If you have any thoughts, queries, questions, things you'd like to approach us about, our email is giantbrainuk@gmail.com. And if you'd like to talk to us about any malpractice or indeed any serious stories, please be assured that you'll be treated with full confidence. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
See you soon.
Bye,
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.